In this time of pandemic and global upheaval, the importance of taking care of our mental and emotional health cannot be overemphasized. To talk about how we can use change and challenges to our advantage, joining me now from New York City is Monica Berg. She's an author, relationships counselor, and chief communications officer at the Kabbalah Center International. Monica, good morning. You describe yourself as a change junkie, which means that where most people fear change, you actually thrive on it. How can we use changes in our lives, especially dramatic ones, to our benefit?
Well, thank you for having me here this morning. It's good to be with you. The first is just a simple shift in consciousness. If we fully understand and more importantly embrace that change is the only constant in life, and we practice that daily, that consciousness, then when things arise like where we find ourselves today in uncertainty, then we're able to lean into discomfort, because most of us go through life trying to hold on to what's comfortable. But if you think about it, if life went exactly as you wanted it to, you'd be quite bored at the end of the day. So leaning into the discomfort and recognizing that our ability to embrace, welcome, change is our superpower. And by doing that, you're really able to live your best life. But first, you need to be able to see it as beneficial, and then you can live by embracing it and really seeking it.
Well, in your books, you speak about seeing the bigger picture. What's happening in our world right now that in the span of a few short months, we've seen this global pandemic, massive unemployment, riots and looting in the U.S., wildfires in Australia, here in the Philippines, a volcano that hadn't erupted in decades erupted. What are we supposed to make of all of this in the grander scheme of things?
Well, it's really easy, especially, and I'm sure for you, right? We watch the news, we live the news, and it's scary. It seems very uncertain right now. But when we're able to pause and just see where we are right now as a moment in time, it's not going to last forever. And instead of focusing on, and I do this, instead of focusing on a tiny grain of sand, I try to look at the whole beach. Because if we look at this chaos that's happening in that part of the world, or this other thing that's happening, it seems like every day something new is erupting, then we're going to find ourselves in a state where we feel paralyzed. So what I often do is I say, okay, where do I see myself in my life, but also the world globally in 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And then I actively work towards being part of a great positive change. Susie Welch actually has this great thing where when I start to have tunnel vision, you ask yourself a question. With this thing that I'm seeing, or this decision I need to make, right? All these things are influencing us, whether it's financially or loss of job. What would I do in 10 minutes, in 10 months, in 10 years? And based on that, you're able to make a decision that has longevity. That's not based on fear. That's not based on this moment, but that gives you a whole bigger picture. And I think that has to be the approach right now, because if you look at what's happening today, you can quite honestly just stop everything you're doing and be terrified, right? That's not going to do you any good. That's not going to do the world any good.
Well, for all of us finding or trying to find our footing in such unprecedented times, what are other practical tips that you can share so that we can all thrive in the midst of change and challenges? Because they're here, it's happening.
So I like to look at changes and challenges as opportunities and as gifts. So I'm taking this time to reset, to push pause on the push, the pull, being in the rat race, and saying, okay, what are the things that I've always wanted to do? What are the things that I want to aspire to be? Who do I want to become? And then every day I start to put a little bit energy in those areas. So I think what people tend to do very often, and I understand it's human nature, that when we fear something or we're afraid of change or a challenge comes, we really just stop and we say, okay, when things get calmer, then I'll go and I'll do things, or then life will go back to normal. I'm saying no. Take this moment to really choose how you want to spend your days, what you want to create, what you want to focus on. And instead of focusing on all the negativity, that noise in our head, the noise that we hear outside, the scary things that we see, focus on what you can control, which is your consciousness, your energy, and your desires. I would put all of my energy in that space. And from that, anything is possible.
All right, Monica, if people want to know more about what you teach, about your books, and about the Kabbalah Center, where can they go?
So to be a follower for the Kabbalah Center, you can go to @Kabbalah_Philippines on Instagram. My Instagram is Monica Berg 74, and my books are available on Amazon, Fear is Not an Option and Rethink Love.
All right, Monica, it's been great talking to you this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That was Monica Berg, author and Chief Communications Officer at the Kabbalah Center.